Hi everybody. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about creating the planner that you'll be submitting at the end of 101. So in 011 this week, you do not have anything due, but in 101, we're going to be focusing on this planner for the personal essay. And you might have noticed that when reading over the instructions, it doesn't really tell you, give you a template or anything to follow. It says to just make an outline. So one of the things I want to do today is show you how you can go about creating the outline and actually make an outline in real time to give you an idea. So as we look at this, this is in 101. I'm looking at the prompts for the unit personal essay, and I'm looking at the response writing articles. So to locate it, it's under the content section in the course reading submodule, American Issues, and it's the first document that you'll see there. The reason I have this pulled up is because this is how I'm going to generate some ideas for my actual paper. So the Unit 1 personal essay is about you. It's your ideas, your reactions, and your connections to the theme of the reading on your own personal level. Later on, you'll be looking at things on a rhetorical level and really focusing on if something is well constructed or well researched or well argued. That's something that we'll do later. For this first personal essay, you're really going to think about the ways that you connected with it, the ways that you identified with the article or the author. So we are focusing on this article, The Fear We All Live With. It's the same one that you annotated and answered questions about in 011. Let me just go back to, there we go. So in this little document, there are questions down here. Questions like, what does the text have to do with you personally and with your life, your past, your present, or your future? How much does the text agree or clash with your view of the world and what you consider right and wrong? What did you learn, and how much were your views and opinions challenged or changed by this text, if at all? How well does the text address things that you personally care about and consider important to the world? What can you praise about the text? What problems did you have with it? Did you enjoy the text as entertainment? And then the last question that is included here is to sum up what's your overall reaction to the text. And this is a really good question for the conclusion. I'm going to set that question aside. Otherwise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions that are all really great moments for reflection and chances for you to personally respond and connect with the text. So what I'm recommending, and you'll see this is the same thing I was saying over in the 101 video, what I'm recommending is that to figure out what you want to say, pick 4 or 5 of these. I'm going to pick 3. I'm actually probably just going to talk about 1 or 2 because I don't want this video to go on forever. But I'm going to show you how to kind of use these to create your outline because these are great ideas, jumping points for you to write a paragraph. So I'm going to go back in my mind to my annotation and I'm going to say, you know, one of the things that I really connected with that the author was saying in The Fear We All Live With, maybe I made a note about this idea. The way I instinctively look for an exit in a room, the way I get nervous when pressed in a crowd. And I think about it and I say to myself, you know, I do feel that way and have started to feel that way ever since I've been in a crowded room, since particularly since there was a threat at Deltec years ago. And I mentioned it in the 101 video, but we were closed one day at Deltec. And then we were required, the next time that we came back in our classes, we were required to do presentations on like or to give information about emergency procedures, including active shooter drills. And I had to go over that with my class. And ever since then, I really do think about things like that because we had to watch a presentation made by public safety about what to do, when to hide, when to act, when it might be a good idea for a class to overcome somebody who's an intruder with a gun. So that moment is something that I connected with when I read this thing about like the way I instinctively look for an exit in a room and when I get nervous when I'm in a crowd. That might be something I connected with. I also get nervous now, I think, going to like a boardwalk. I'll think about it in a way I never used to. Like, what if somebody here has a gun? So in my annotations, let's say that I made a note where I'm like, I connect with this personally. So I can look back at the questions and I can say, all right, what does this text have to do with me personally? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my blank Microsoft Word document. And I'm going to create Roman numerals for all of my paragraphs. So I'm going to have my introduction. And then I'm going to leave my introduction blank right now, because the thing that's going to be going in my introduction is going to be my thesis statement. I don't know my thesis statement yet. I'm going to construct it based on what I say here in my body paragraph. So I'm going to say, you know, I really responded and reflected on this thing that the author said. So for my first topic sentence, I'm going to say something like, sorry, let me go right back to this. And I'm going to paste this in. That's going to be, and I'm going to put in a citation. So let's see this. What's her last name? Lang. And it's 2018, and that was in paragraph 1. And I'm going to include that because I'm quoting it. I know this is a different font. I'm going to go back and fix that at the end. When the author said, I instinctively look for an exit in a room. And I'm going to put that at the end of the sentence. I'm going to finish my thought. Okay. So, I mean, this isn't going to set the world on fire. This isn't like the best. If I had more time, I would tweak this, but it's fine for now. I'm going to put this whole document in Times New Roman, actually, because I prefer it. But y'all can put it in whatever legible font you want. Okay, so I'm going to say that. I got my little citation. I've got everything I need in there. Okay. For my details, I'm going to include things like... my own personal experience. I'll talk about the fact that I grew up with shooter drills because I was in high school when Columbine happened. I don't know if all of them was, but I know at least at the time I was working at Stanton and it was close enough to be closed. Delta campuses were closed. Had to do emergency situation training after That was also around the same time that we started getting those locking door magnets that you're supposed to pull out of the classroom at Del Tech. So I started to actively get like training in my professional life. Okay. So that's going to be the basis of my first paragraph. This idea of like, I instinctively look for an exit in a room, and how that sort of is because I was trained to do that. So this is my personal connection, tying back into the fact that at this point in my life, because I grew up doing shooter drills, it's almost instinctual. It does cross my mind when I go into a classroom, particularly when I go into a classroom. I always think about the exits. I think about the windows. I think about what I can see, and it's not even something I was really conscious of until I heard this person talk about it in this article, and I was like, yeah, I do that. So that's going to be my personal. That's going to be my personal response to that question of, what does this text have to do with you personally, when with your life, past, present, or future? Okay. So maybe for this one, I'm going to answer, how well did you enjoy the text as entertainment? Not at all. It made me uncomfortable and anxious, which I think it was meant to. So I would say, I did not enjoy reading this article because it made me anxious thinking about mass shootings. I'm trying to think of other and so, like, this doesn't seem like it's very in depth, but they're just notes to me that I want to talk about the fact in my actual paragraph that the day after the shooting happened in the movie theater. I think that was also in Colorado. The day after the shooting happened in the movie theater, that my dad and my husband, well, my fiance at the time, went to see Batman together. And I remember asking them to text me when they got out of the movie. So that's like a detail that I want to include. And I'm not going to include a fourth one just because I want to get the ball rolling on the thesis statement. But here I'm just going to write third point. Here I'm going to write fourth. I'll say response. So I would pick another one of those questions and respond to it. Third response, fourth response. And then this would be my conclusion. So there'd be details in each of these. What I'm going to do now that I've written these is I'm going to create a thesis statement. And I'm going to say, I'm going to include the author's name. So I'm going to say Jeva Lang's article. You can see that I put it all together. And that's what I want you to do, as well as point 4 and 5 isn't completely fleshed out, but you get the idea of how to make this document.